folks, Chris from Prep Logic. Today we're going to talk about defensive firearm use. With the recent rash of mass shootings in our country and the call for gun control, it behooves us to be consistent in our training and the use of our firearms. We cannot fall into a sense of apathy just because people are trying to take them. So I'm going to go over some tips with you today and some common practices that you should be going through on a regular basis to make sure that you are an asset in training and not a casualty in waiting. So we're going to start with your equipment. Are you using a trouser belt that is at least 1.5 inches to 2 inches wide? Most standard holsters have 1.5 to 2 inch belt loop gap. If you're using a 1-inch holster, it can cause for a lift in your holster when you draw. This can delay your draw by as many as 1 to 2 seconds, which doesn't seem like a lot, but when you've got someone pounding down you with a firearm, it's eternity. Okay. Secondly, your holster should be made for your gun. Now, there are some generic holsters that work okay, and hey, if you have one that works for you, more power to you. But make sure that your holster does not conflict with the features of your firearms. Make sure that your mag release doesn't catch on the edge of your holster when you're drawing, things like that. That can delay your draw by another second. So right there, you've got 3 seconds of delay in your draw. That's dead. Your pistol should be well maintained. It should be cleaned and oiled regularly, and it should be ergonomic to the user. I have big hands. I don't use a subcompact pistol because it's not comfortable for me in my hands. I use a medium framed automatic or revolver. Now, you should also be carrying and training for the use of first aid equipment. Tourniquets, Carlisle bandages, whatever you can carry, whatever you can afford to carry, you should be carrying it. If you can make the wound, you should be able to treat the wound. You should be training for how to do that. In some states, somebody can sue you for trying to help them and doing harm by accident. So you want to make sure that you either are trained in basic first aid or some higher level of first aid, or that you have the ability to stabilize and get somebody help who can do the job in a safe manner. Now, along with these things, you should be practicing certain things. Draw technique is very important. Are you practicing based on what you wear for a smooth, consistent draw? Are you doing this based around your gear and how you dress? It is one thing to be comfortable carrying your pistol a certain way, but can you get your clothing out of the way and get that pistol out in a smooth, consistent manner? Additionally, do you wear corrective lenses? Do you practice for the possibility of losing your corrective lenses? This can happen. It's important. Are you practicing under stress? It is easy to go to the range and plug holes in a paper target. But elevate your heart rate and see if you can still hold the same pattern. That should be a goal in everyone's training, is shooting under stress to make sure that you can hold that pattern. Because let me tell you, when you're in that big box store, if the day ever comes that someone comes in there and starts shooting, you're not going to be calm, cool, and collected. You're going to be under stress, and you need to practice to compensate for that stress. Run around the parking lot a couple times. Do some lumberjacks. Do 50 jumping jacks. Just get that heart rate elevated to simulate that stress. Additionally, in most firearms confrontations, 40% of people are struck in the hand. Usually their primary hand, because that's the hand that's out front. Are you practicing offhanded, and are you practicing offhanded reload techniques? These can be very important. Now, moving on, we're going to talk about ammunition types, because this is very important. That universal rule always reigns true. Objects in motion will stay in motion until something stops them, usually a body. We don't want that, unless it's the body we're shooting at. So we're going to talk about ammunition types and what are the more appropriate ammunitions for self-defense. So going through ammunition types, you have your standard full metal jackets. These offer high penetration, moderate to weak stopping power. You have wad cutter and semi-wad cutter ammo, which offer decent stopping power and moderate penetration. You have semi-jacketed rounds, which are soft-tipped and they offer good stopping power, not so much penetration. Very good self-defense round. You want stopping power over penetration. You want to keep your rounds in the person you're shooting at. Your goal is hopefully to stop them. So good stopping power is what you want. Then you have jacketed and semi-jacketed hollow points. Again, good stopping power, moderate to poor penetration depending on your powder load. And then standard hollow points, of course, have decent penetration, good stopping power, because the round tends to expand on impact and it gives you some good stopping power. Another good round for self-defense is the Glazer Safety Slug, which is the blue plastic bullet. And a lot of people aren't fond of them, but they are good self-defense rounds. However, they're poor against body armor and things like that. So keep these things in mind. I personally recommend a good jacketed hollow point. It's going to have that stopping power. It's not likely to tear through a person, and if it does, it's not going to have the carried velocity that a full metal jacketed round would. I know full metal jacket rounds are cheap as heck at Walmart. You can get a box of 100 for $9, but yeah, stick with hollow points. Because again, if your rounds go through somebody and hit somebody else, you may not be charged, but you want to carry that on your soul. Now, additionally, there are some other types of ammos. You have soft point ammo, which is good stopping power, poor penetration, another good self-defense round. There's armor piercing ammo, which is all penetration, no stopping power. And then you have boat tail rounds and boat-tailed hollow points, and those are just they're stabilized round. So now that we've talked about equipment, we've got our holster set up. We practiced a good smooth draw. We're practicing under stress. We've practiced offhand reloads. You know, everything we need to practice. Let's talk about the event. So, you're walking through Big Box USA. Or your local store or whatever. In that moment, none of us wants to have it happens. You hear gunshots. If you believe you can directly engage this person and be effective, more power to you. If you're successful, right on. I'll be the first to rain you with applause. But the odds are, in a confrontation between a handgun and a long gun, you're going to die. So you need to know the strength of your weapon and how you can help people. Because the goal of all of us who carry and want to protect people is to protect people. That doesn't mean being John McClane or Jet Li or John Wayne or whoever and getting in a gunfight and stopping the guy. Yes, it might happen, and if it does, man, I'm praying for you, and I hope it comes out in your favor. But in a confrontation between you with your pistol and him with his long gun, more than likely all you're going to do is give him an extra gun to use when he runs out of rifle rounds. Just saying. So you have to concentrate on your weapon's value, which is as a defensive weapon. And you have to learn to exercise strategies that will maximize that weapon's potential. Now, first off, you need to look at the scenario you're in. Try to usher people away from the shooting. If you can get them to exits in the back of the store, all the better. If not, get them to the back of the store and behind pallets, behind bins and things like that in the back that might offer some protection and give them a chance to hide. Try to barricade those locations. Try to use narrow doorways like that to create choke points where your weapon is going to be more effective and have a chance to be more effective, where you can bring him in your range, or her, into your range and have a chance of stopping them. Doorways are classically referred to by those of us in law enforcement as fatal funnels. Get them in doorways. Bathrooms, back rooms, photo departments, layaway, anywhere you can get people back out of sight and hidden, all the better. Get them back where you can get in a fortified location and be defensive with your handgun. If you don't fire one shot, but you protect 50 people, or 10 people, or 5 people, or 2 people, you have proven the narrative wrong that people who carry to protect people are ineffective. You need to practice being an asset in training and not a casualty in waiting. I will drill those words until the day I die. And hopefully people listen. Secondly, when you get people to a fortified location, everybody has a cell phone. Get as many people as you can calling out for help. Some people might lose service. The reason I say that is some people might lose service due to an overload of people calling on their service company. Too many on Sprint, too many on Verizon, too many on Metro, such and such, such and such. You want to get as many people calling for help as you can, but as soon as one person has established a connection with law enforcement or emergency services, find the calmest person you can to talk to them and relay your situation. Do not relinquish your firearm. Do not stop covering the situation. Vigilance matters at this point. You have been engaged. You're in a hostile threat situation. You need to keep your head on your shoulders and keep your eyes on the target. But you also need to make sure you're managing the situation and doing the best you can to get these people to safety while you're keeping them safe. And it's not going to be easy. You're going to hear shooting. You're going to hear people, the worst possible scenario happening. And you're going to want to run out there and be a hero and save lives. But you are. You might not be able to save all of them, but if you can save some of them, you've done some good. Again, training, equipment, and application. These are the 3 major steps in surviving these situations. As always, folks, be decent to each other, because we're all in this together. God bless. Hey folks, thanks for watching today. As always, you can join the conversation at Prep Logic on Facebook and MeWe.
and catch our podcast weekly at Anchor FM. As always, folks, be decent to each other, because we're all in this together. God bless.